Madden 23 is here, and even more so than last year, the Chicago Bears roster is terrible. Can we put some kind of a team around Justin Fields, help him find some success in the NFL? Let's find out. Okay, so looking at the roster before we make any kind of moves, this is the offensive side of the ball, and you just can't help but feel for Justin Fields. I mean, this line is god awful. Riley Reef is your starting left tackle. And then you look at the weapons. You're going to tell me Byron Pringle is your wide receiver too? This is bad. I mean, outside of Darnell Mooney and maybe Cole Kmet, there's just really not a whole lot to be excited for here. I mean, even David Montgomery, I think, is 25, 26 by now. He's good, but he's not elite by any means. So, yeah, this is tough. Really tough for Justin Fields. And on the defensive side of the ball, you have a couple pieces here that are kind of exciting for sure. Jalen Johnson, the corner, is only 23 years old. I think he can develop and be a stud for us. Jaquan Brisker, already looking great in preseason action. The rookie, really excited for him. Real life Roquan Smith is requesting a trade. And if we're going full rebuild, if the roster is going to be this bad, I'm going to throw him up on the block. If, Dallas wants to give me a first round pick for him, we might take it. Eddie Jackson, too, is starting to decline. He's an 83 overall. He's 28 years old, so might look to move him as well. But just overall prospects for the year, this pass rush is not going to be any good. You're telling me Al-Qadim Muhammad is one of your starting edge players? That's rough. Matthew Adams has no business being a starting linebacker. I know these are guys Eberflus brought over from the Colts, but these are guys who have no business starting on a regular basis. So, a lot of work to do here, and it's going to take a few years, so let's get started. Okay, so looking at the free agents here, and as much as I would love to bring in Odell, there is just no way he would have any interest in the Bears in real life. I would feel bad bringing him in here. He wants to play for a contender, and we are not that. So, moving on, I definitely think we can bring in Linval Joseph on a one-year deal, longtime Viking, so, get him back in the NFC North. So we'll bring him in on a one-year deal. I definitely don't think it hurts to bring in some of these guys to at least bolster our roster a little bit. We know we're not going to be any good, but we might as well give, Fields something to work with. And I think signing J.C. Treader is a good way to go about that, get him a real center. So we'll get him in on a one-year deal. And then really just one or two more signings I'd like to make. Next one is going to be Brian Balaga. So we're getting two offensive linemen here through basically the free agent scraps, but these free agent scraps are going to be two of our best starters on the line. So yeah, we will take that. And then I would like to get him another wide receiver. Will Fuller is out here. He's an 80 overall, fast as hell. So sure, he'll be our last free agent signing. So we at least bring in a couple veterans in August. These are not guys that are going to make us good by any means, but it at least looks like we're trying, unlike how the Bears currently look. So, yeah, we'll bring these guys in. They should at least give us a little something. Okay, so looking at the trade block here, the Bills did have AJ Epinesa up there. He's only 23 years old, and he's honestly about on par with who we have starting opposite Robert Quinn anyways. So we'll throw them a 5th-round pick. He'll get in the starting lineup. Let's see if he can do anything with us. Why not? Okay, so next up, I threw Roquan Smith on the trade block. 25 years old, 89 overall. And EA did actually put some work into making the AI give us interesting offers for the players that we put on the trade block. And I say that because unlike Maddens of the past, we're actually getting interesting players thrown in the offers. It used to just be some draft picks. For Roquan Smith, a lot of teams would offer like a first, a third, and like a 70 overall player. It would never be young guys that we would actually be interested in, like Javonte Williams, Jerry Jeudy, Deontay Johnson, DK Metcalf. I mean, these are real valuable assets that teams are willing to trade away. Quinnen Williams, Kadarius Toney, AJ Brown, Kenny Moore, even though he's getting up there in age, Creed Humphrey, the superstar center who just got drafted a year ago. I mean, these are real assets. Antoine Winfield, Kareem Hunt's on the trade block, so not as interesting, but yeah. The only team surprisingly offering us a first-round draft pick is Buffalo, and unfortunately it's a 2024 first-round pick, We got to start building around Fields. We can't afford to wait that long, unfortunately. And so the offer I'm actually going to go with is the Broncos. And the reason I'm doing that is Javonte Williams, that allows us to move on from David Montgomery. We were probably going to be looking to do that a year or two down the line anyways. Jerry Jeudy is young. This gets us a legit receiver alongside Darnell Mooney. So we really solved two of our problems. We're going to do it. Roquan Smith is headed to Denver. Okay, so next we've got Eddie Jackson on the trade block, and really not a whole lot of exciting offers here, although how funny would it be to accept this trade and bring Allen Robinson back to Chicago? Teams are offering A.J. Dillon, Foyesade Oluokun, Kenny Golladay. The one that I am relatively interested in, though, and that I am going to take is Isaiah Simmons, because sure, he hasn't quite lived up to the hype, but he's a 78 overall. I've got to think he's still only like 23 years old. He's someone we could build our defense around. I think he could be really great for us. It gets us younger. We're going to do it. Okay, we do have a training camp standout, though, so let's see what that's all about. Okay, Coach Jalen Johnson had a strong camp and has continued to build on that this preseason. Where has he improved most? Okay, so we're going to get an upgrade for Jalen Johnson here. Let's go ahead and upgrade his zone coverage. He looks more fluid in zone, blah, blah, blah. He's great. He got +5 zone coverage. Wow, okay, really glad I clicked on that. That's a huge bump for him. Good for us. Next up, we're going to send David Montgomery to the Bills. A second-round pick will do it. Feel like that's fair value for him. Also gives the Bills a clear-cut starting feature running back. So win-win for both sides. Next up, we're going to set our season goal, how many wins we think we're going to accumulate this year. We're going to say 7. I think 7 is fair. I don't even know if we'll hit that. We definitely have, I would say, probably a bottom 5 roster for sure. So yeah, we'll say 7. We'll be optimists. Okay, so we've got a goal week 1 for Jalen Johnson. Get 2 combined interceptions and pass deflections to continue his breakout. So hopefully he can pull that off. And next up, we've got our opening day keys. It's opening day and a fresh start for every team around the league, and you'll be facing the 49ers. What's the key to victory? Well, I don't think there is one, but we're going to go with stifling defense. It's Trey Lance's first game as the full-time starter. He's coming into the year, so we'll say that we are going to disrupt the pass. We'll slow him down. Deebo Samuel is no match for Jaquan Brisker. You will see. Beat the 49ers, allow less than 200 yards passing. Okay, so here's your week 1 roster, and very early on to the rebuild, we're already starting to make our mark on this roster long term. Not just the bridge Band-Aid guys we brought in, J.C. Tretter and Brian Balaga, but we brought in Jerry Jeudy, Javonte Williams, 2 brand new starters coming over from Denver. Will it work out? We don't know, but we're at least trying here, giving Fields some exciting options. Defensively, AJ Epinesa is going to start for us. Maybe he can do something. Isaiah Simmons is starting. And Houston Carson is now our starting safety with Eddie Jackson out of town. So, yeah, definitely some interesting pieces here. Excited to see what we can do. Let's sim and see how week 1 goes. And before I do that, how could I forget? We need to hire and assign our scouts. The draft is going to be so important for us these next couple years. So, yes, let's get in there. Let's get those scouts assigned. Okay, so we've got our scouts hired. Our 3-star Tyler Rogers, his expertise areas are tackle and outside linebacker, 2 areas we definitely need. Our 2-star is going to cover the interior O-line and defensive tackle. And then we've got 3 1-star guys as well. So we've got our scouts all assigned. We're ready to move forward. Okay, now we're ready for week 1 against the Niners. Definitely don't think we're in for a win here, but crazier things have happened. Let's just take a quick look and find out, see how week 1 goes for Justin Fields. And we lose a close one, 19-13. Trey Lance had a pretty nice game. Fields was mediocre, didn't really do a whole lot. Javonte Williams was pretty quiet, 3.2 per carry. Don't love to see that, although he did break 5 tackles, which is okay, I guess. Cole Kmet did put up 80 receiving yards. Darnell Mooney had 71, but not sure how this happened. Jerry Jeudy did not catch a single ball. We're going to want to keep an eye on that. Riley Reiff allowed 2 sacks, which I'm assuming he was going up against Nick Bosa, so I guess you can't fault him too much, but we already know left tackle is going to be one of our top priorities next offseason. We just have to deal with this guy for 1 year. Robert Quinn did get a sack for us. Isaiah Simmons had 11 tackles in a TFL. Like to see that. And the rookie Kyler Gordon gets a pick in his first career game, so definitely love to see that. Okay, we've got an upgrade on our camp standout. Did Jalen Johnson meet his goal? He did not. I really felt like I was poised for big things, but didn't get it done when it mattered. So, nothing gained, nothing lost here for Jalen Johnson. Next up is our key to victory. Don't really want to hear about it, but let's see what they have to say. We know we have to step it up. Jalen Johnson's just going through it right now. 2 heart-to-hearts back-to-back. The guy's in his feelings, that's for sure. Nothing gained there either. I mean, that's to be expected when you lose 19-13. Next up, game plan elite quarterback. Yeah, we're really going to slow down Aaron Rodgers at Lambeau in prime time, right? Facing a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers always presented him as a challenge for any defense looking to stop him. What style of play will give him the most trouble? I don't know, maybe if we switched rosters with the Bucs, that'd be a good start. Unrelenting pressure, sacks good, or blanket coverage, pass deflections and interceptions. Oh, not good. Goal. Duh. We'll say pressure. Maybe we get after him, get a few sacks. It all starts with pressure. What's our goal? Sack him 6 times? No, just 2 sacks. Okay. The 2 sacks I think is somewhat realistic. The win, not so much, but our linemen will be boosted this week, so there's that. Okay, training is done. Let's see how week 2 goes. Do we get the upset at Lambeau? I doubt it. But any second now. No, we do not. Closer than we expected, 21-18. We're at least hanging in there. We're not getting embarrassed, but 0-2, that's to be expected. Rodgers has a decent game, and Justin Fields actually has a pretty good game. Not bad, passer rating over 100, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Did get sacked 3 times, and I can't help but notice we didn't bring down Rodgers once. Javonte Williams still not finding much room rushing, that's okay. Fields carried the ball 13 times, that's impressive I guess. Jerry Jeudy got his first catch this game, fortunately. He had 4 for 62 yards, also scored a touchdown. Cole Kmet is having a good start to the year after leading the team in receiving yards last week. He's got 52 yards and a touchdown, so good work there, solid. 3 sacks allowed, can't help but notice Riley Reef is back on the board. Nick Morrow led the way in tackles, Isaiah Simmons did have 7. Sacks are interesting because I could have sworn Rodgers said 0, but DeAndre Houston Carson comes in with a sack, so we at least got 1 there. Really no point reading this message, we know we didn't get anything out of that. Forecast heavy rain. Let's see what this is about. It looks like it's going to be raining for the entire game this week and probably won't take long for the conditions to get pretty sloppy. That's very insightful, Justin Fields. What's our plan on offense? Pass the ball or run the ball? We're going to say pass the ball. You're the one who wanted to bring up the weather, so let's see what you can do with it. We can't let the conditions affect us too much. Beat the Texans and rack up 300 plus passing yards. I definitely think that's doable. It's the Texans. Next up, it's time to assign our regional scouts. Okay, so I'm going to be completely honest. I don't know what I did here. I completely intended for Tyler Rodgers to be my national scout. It's not letting me change anything. I've looked around the options. I cannot find it. So I'm guessing I missed a step. I don't know where. We'll sort it out next season, but here are our assignments for now. We're not going to have the best scouting, but it'll make it a little bit more challenging, which I enjoy, so we'll take it. Okay, so next up we've got the Houston Texans, and if there are any games that I feel we can win this season, this is definitely one of them. Also, I do have some staff points saved up. We've got 74. Let's go in and spend some of them. Okay, so we're going completely on the offensive side of the ball. Specifically, we're doing the on the block section. A couple of these were already here for us, the 2 that you see on Practice Makes Perfect, but we're going to allow X factors on the offensive line, if not that we have any right now. Just had to get that to boost our impact blocking for tight ends, boost our run blocking for offensive linemen, our pass blocking for tight ends, and our awareness for our offensive linemen. So hopefully this should help keep Fields a little bit more upright. Our defense has been playing fairly well. We haven't allowed a ton of points. It's just our offense that's been struggling, so maybe this will help us. Okay, and we finally get our first win of the season. It's a big one, 24-6. We blow out the Texans. Justin Fields, the guy who was very concerned for the weather, turned out to not be a big deal. So the reporters are asking us, or they're telling us, it's never easy to play in those types of conditions, blah, 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 but you got the win, definitely, for sure. We earned 1,000 XP for the entire team, so that's good. Next up, we've got a QB1 check-in. Coach, your team has struggled out of the gate so far, and when that happens, a lot of blame is usually placed on the quarterback. Who needs to step up? We are not going to throw Justin Fields under the bus here. We're going to say the team. Football is a team game. Our goal is to beat the Giants. I definitely think we can do that. Now, as for our game against the Texans, I'd like to see how the stats played out. Okay, so Fields wasn't amazing. He did air it out a little bit. 234 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Our defense came in clutch, though. Only 193 yards for Davis Mills, no touchdowns and 2 picks. Sacked him twice. Javonte Williams is still not getting a whole lot done on the ground. It might be time to think about trying to trade for a lineman. Just another one to boost things up for him a little bit. Jerry Jeudy's over 100 yards. He also scores a touchdown. Love to see that. Cole Kmet has 69 yards. Nice. Will Fuller scores his first touchdown of the season. Good. Special shout out to Riley Reef, his first game all year, not allowing a sack. Big ups to him. Jalen Johnson led the team in tackles. He had 8 with a TFL and an interception. Great game for him. Robert Quinn had a sack and a half. Al-Qadim Muhammad had that other half. And aside from Jalen Johnson, the other Bear to get a pick is Nicholas Morrow. Okay, couple players ready to negotiate. Let's see whose contracts are going to be up. Okay, see, this is one of the positives of trading away some of your aging veterans. I know Roquan Smith doesn't necessarily count as an aging veteran, but still. We're going to enter 2023 with $140 million in cap space, and here are the guys we can potentially re-sign. Byron Pringle, Tavon Young, Riley Reef, no. N'Keal Harry, I mean, there's just no one here that we're going to be dying to have back. So, yeah, we're going to lose basically fringe roster players, guys who really aren't deserving of starting spots. We've got a couple guys we brought in on one-year deals. Not that I think we'll want to bring any of them back. They're more so Band-Aids, but yeah, we don't have a whole lot of pending free agents to worry about. In fact, I wouldn't say we have any at all. I don't really need to bring any of these guys back, and we're going to have a ton of cap space entering free agency next year. Okay, so we finally get to take on the 0-3 New York Giants. I'm thinking if we can beat them, that would be some good momentum for us, get us to 500. Maybe not be the worst team in the league. And we win, 29-22, so another good day for the offense. Let's see what happened. Okay, so Fields had a very nice day passing the ball, 262 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Terrell Taylor threw a pass, it looks like. And Danny Dimes got sacked 4 times. Did throw a touchdown, no picks, but you love to see that. Still nothing going for Javonte Williams. He does score a touchdown, but he just cannot hit 4 yards per carry. It seriously might be time, if we can, to trade for a lineman. Justin Fields scores a rushing touchdown, that's good. And quiet day for the receivers. Will Fuller leads the way for us with 65 yards and a score. Kenny Golladay decides to stop being lazy and scores a touchdown. Darnell Mooney gets 55 yards. And Jerry Jeudy scores again. I think he's up to 3 or 4 on the year now, so that's good. Glad we traded for him. Riley Reef with his weekly sack allowed. Good. Love to see that from him. Superstar. Isaiah Simmons led the way for us with 7 tackles and a sack. And Nicholas Morrow, pending free agent, I might have to change my mind on him. He picks up 2 sacks to go along with Isaiah Simmons' sack. And then to Trevis Gibson, he gets a sack as well. So really good game for our pass rush. I think it's our first time topping 2 sacks all year. Next up, we get a QB1 check-in. This should be good. Really proud of how we came out and got the job done in that one. Everybody chipped in and we came away with a nice win. Well said, Justin Fields, and the weather was nice. Don't forget that. We didn't have to worry about any rain. Our whole team has earned 2,500 XP. Very nice. Okay, so our starting right guard is a 69 overall. Graham Glasgow is the backup for the Broncos, so they could use a receiver after sending us Jerry Jeudy. We're going to do some more business with them. We'll send them Byron Pringle and a 7th, and Graham Glasgow should give us an okay upgrade at right guard, a little bit of a band-aid for us. Hopefully get Javonte Williams going just a little bit more than he has been. Okay, so next up we've got the Vikings. I did spend 10 staff points. It upgraded the awareness for our offensive linemen by, I think, 3, so that should help. Hopefully we can get a win here. They are surprisingly 1-3. I expect them to be pretty good this year, so can we push them to 1-4 and get ourselves to a winning record? Let's find out. And no, we get the close loss 20-17. So I know I've said it before, but I mean, this team is fighting. We haven't had a blowout loss yet, I think. Not that I can remember. We're at least keeping it close. But yeah, we get the loss 2017. Cousins had a pretty solid game. We did sack him 3 times. Fields struggled, no touchdowns, no picks. Did get sacked twice. The run game was pretty quiet. Again, Javonte Williams, 14 carries, 49 yards, nothing special. Fields did run in a score, so something to be said for that. Justin Jefferson was obviously the difference maker here. The guy is a monster. Darnell Mooney led the way for us. Cole Kmet is over 50 yards, and not a whole lot else to speak of. No one caught a touchdown. Tevin Jenkins and Brian Balaga each allowed a sack, but you've got to scroll all the way down because Riley Reef wants you to know he did not allow a sack this week, so it's a miracle. Travis Gibson led the way in tackles, did have a sack for us. Also getting sacks are Linval Joseph, the guy that we brought in August, and Robert Quinn. And Jalen Johnson did pick off Kirk Cousins, so love to see that from him. He is coming along very nicely. Also had a TFL. Okay, it's a short week. Let's see what that means for us. Obviously, we have a short week this week, and the offense isn't going to have much time to prepare or practice the game plan, which could lead to them being out of sync and having a tough time moving the ball or scoring points. So what you're saying is that we need to step up as a defense. Short weeks are definitely tough, but that long break after is really enjoyable when you have extra time to review film of shutting down an offense. Very insightful, Linval Joseph. You read my mind. Dominate on defense. Beat the Commanders and allow 2 or fewer offensive touchdowns. Well, Carson Wentz is the quarterback, so I definitely think that's doable. Okay, and we do have some staff points saved up. We're going to purchase True Grinders, boost impact blocking for wide receivers by 1. And do we have enough to purchase it again? Yes, boost it by 3. The reason we're doing this is I really want weight room, which boosts the strength rating for offensive linemen by 4. Hopefully we can afford that next week, after we hopefully beat the Commanders. Okay, and we do not get the win. In fact, we lose by 2 scores, 20-6. Don't love to see that. Carson Wentz heard us talking trash, decided to have a decent game and not throw stupid interceptions. Justin Fields struggled, got sacked 5 times. The line was not doing him any favors. Thankfully, we've got enough points now to get weight room. Javonte Williams with his weekly 3.5 per carry. Jerry Jeudy was our top receiver with a whopping 57 yards. Brian Balaga is out here doing his best Riley Reef impression. Isaiah Simmons did have a good game, 14 tackles, can't understate that, that's impressive. Linval Joseph and Robert Quinn each had a sack. Meanwhile, Jaquan Brisker and AJ Epinesa each combined for a total of 1. So, okay, we had 3 sacks. We'll take that, I guess. And at this point, I know the talent is probably the issue, but I want to try switching up the playbook. And I can't help but notice that the Ravens are 5-1. They've got a quarterback who can run around a little bit. They like to lean on the run game, so let's test them out. Let's see if we can get something going with the Ravens playbook. We're going to switch it up. Okay, and finally we have enough points to purchase weight room. This will boost the strength for our entire offensive line by 4. Hopefully this can get the run game going, slow down the sacks on Justin Fields a little bit. The talent is not great, but, maybe the offensive coordinator can get something done for us. We've got the Patriots next up. They are 3-3, I believe. Let's find out here to make sure. Yes, 3-3, so kind of what we're expecting for them this year, honestly. Can we beat them, though? I don't think so, but let's find out. I don't know how we keep getting primetime games, by the way. I think this is our 3rd primetime game. The Bears do not deserve that this year. Okay, and we get the upset win, 28-21. Looks like we score 4 touchdowns. That is great for us. Let's see what happened. Okay, so Fields had a nice game. Pretty quiet on the yardage, but 3 touchdowns, only 1 interception. Not bad. Did not get sacked. Meanwhile, Mac Jones did not throw a touchdown, did throw a pick, and got sacked once. Okay, good news on both fronts there. And look what the playbook change did for Javonte Williams. Are you kidding me? 139 yards, 8.2 per carry, a touchdown, 7 broken tackles. That is amazing. Justin Fields puts up 73 yards on the ground. Incredible. And receiving is obviously going to be pretty quiet. However, who scored? Will Fuller, Jerry Jeudy, and Kari Blasingame. Okay. This might be the first time all year we have not allowed a single sack. Incredible. Isaiah Simmons comes through with 9 tackles for us. He's having a good year. Travis Gibson gets the only sack of the game. And Jalen Johnson gets an interception. So does Ugo Amadi. Okay. Okay, next up is the National Scouting Focus, or the Scouting National Focus, I should say. Assign your National Scout a position to focus their evaluation efforts on. So let's do that. So unfortunately, our National Scout sucks. Daisy Bishop is a 1-star, expertise is outside linebacker and middle linebacker. The strength is right outside linebacker, so we're going to set the scouting focus to outside linebacker, and we'll go with that. So hopefully we can get something out of that. Again, it's not going to be perfect. It's our first year. I'm sure I made a mistake somewhere along the way, but we'll take it. And there is a mock draft out. As of right now, we're projected to have the number 4 overall pick and take outside linebacker Cullen Stallworth. I like that name. Don't know much about him. I guess 75% completion, so we at least know a little bit. He doesn't look great though. Block shedding is a B to a C, pursuit B to C, tackling B to C. Doubt that's who we end up taking. Also doubt we pick 4th. We're looking pretty solid. I think we can turn things around here. I think that's our only first round pick. I can't remember what the Bears got out of the Khalil Mack trade, or even if they did get a first, if that would even be included in here. I doubt it. It's EA, but there you have it. And I did just look it up. The Bears got a 2022 second and a 2023 sixth for Khalil Mack, so no first. I should have known that. Okay, so week 8, we head to Dallas to take on the 5-2 Cowboys. Needless to say, would be a huge upset if we won, but let's find out. Okay, no, we do not win. We get destroyed, 49-6. Okay. So Dak has a perfect game. 368 yards, 5 touchdowns, no picks, perfect passer rating, does not get sacked once. What else are you going to do? Fields doesn't really do much of anything, does get sacked 3 times. Rushing the ball, Zeke's over 100 yards with a touchdown. Khalil Herbert is running the ball for some reason. I don't know if Javonte Williams got hurt. I guess I'll have to check into that. Dak scored another touchdown on the ground, so whoever had him in fantasy that week, congrats. In the fantasy world of Madden. Fields had 6 carries for 24 yards, nothing crazy. Emmanuel Sanders scored 4 touchdowns, unbelievable. Cole Kmet did get over 100, so he's having what I would possibly call a breakout year. I don't know his exact stats, but not bad. Other than that, not a whole lot going on, pretty quiet. Okay. It's been a while since Riley Reef allowed a sack. Brian Balaga has taken the throne as possibly our worst starter. Okay. Cody Whitehair also allowed 1. Isaiah Simmons again leads the way with 11 tackles, 2 TFLs. Really glad we traded for him. Jaquan Brisker has 10 in a TFL. Okay, like to see that. 8 for Tavon Young. No sacks for us. Micah Parsons does Micah Parsons things. And no interceptions the whole game. Okay, so we checked the injury report and no one's there, so definitely curious as to why Javonte Williams didn't get a single carry. I guess we'll have to monitor that, make sure that doesn't happen again. And we do have a few breakouts, so this is exciting. Let's see who we've got. Coach last week was awesome. Back in high school and college, a lot of teams used me primarily as a blocker. Who is saying this? Who's this nameless receiver? Cole Kmet. Okay, we need to get him 3 touchdowns or 150 plus yards. Right, I don't think that's happening, Cole. And next we get a breakout DB. Maybe his goals are a little more realistic. Let's find out. Coach, I just want to say I really like the defensive schemes we've been running. Jaquan Brisker. Okay, what do you need? Hold the Dolphins to less than 200 passing yards or get Jaquan Brisker an interception, a forced fumble, TFL, or a sack. Okay, I think we can possibly do that. Let's hope so. And I did check the depth chart. Sure enough, here's Javonte Williams for some reason. When I checked the injuries, he's not there, but he's hurt somehow. Okay, and there he is. He's got turf toe, so he's only out for a week. Okay, not bad. Still curious as to why it didn't show me this the first time around when I tried to check, but okay, I guess. Now, with Javonte out for a week, we could use someone to pair with Khalil Herbert. So Raheem Mostert is out here. He's a free agent. We'll bring him in on a one-year deal. He brings a speed element to the team for sure. We'll take that. Okay, next up we've got the Dolphins. They are 5-3. Very busy offseason, but not a lot of people are expecting much from this year because of Tua. Can we beat them? I hope so, but I kind of doubt it. No, 21-16. Yikes. So Tua has a pretty clean game overall, no major mistakes. Same with Fields, no mistakes, just no touchdowns, did get sacked twice. The run game has not been good since Javonte Williams went down. He had that huge game a couple weeks back, but Raheem Mostert comes in, puts up 2.9 per carry, does score. Justin Fields gets 28 yards, and not a whole lot outside of that. Cole Kmet does get 100 yards, not the 150 he was looking for, no touchdowns. Aside from that, Darnell Mooney has 72 yards. Been a pretty quiet year for him so far. Jerry Jeudy hasn't done a whole lot the last couple weeks that I can think of, so yeah. Brian Balaga, again, is terrible for us. Definitely regret bringing him in, although I'm not sure how much better we would have done without him. Riley Reiff has been pretty quiet, though. Isaiah Simmons, again, leading the way with tackles. Jaquan Brisker is next. He has 8. Did he get anything that he was looking for to get him a dev trait? It's not looking like it. Oh, he did force a fumble. Okay, so he should get a dev trait upgrade. Good. Very good. And of course, no sacks, no interceptions for us, so moving on here. Okay, now we get to view the messages from our breakout players. I don't want to view Cole's because frankly I don't care, because I know he didn't get anything, but sadly we have to view both of them. I'm proud of my performance today, Coach, but it wasn't up to my personal standards. I'm going to keep working on it. Okay, who was that? It better not have been Jaquan, because Jaquan forced a fumble. Okay, is this Jaquan? Tell me you're upgrading your dev trait. Jaquan Brisker. Coach, I put a lot of work in this year, and I'm finally starting to see the results on the field. Okay, he has star development. Good. That is very good for us. Okay, so next up we get the Lions. They are 4-4, but we are 3-6. So, should be a close game, close matchup. Can we get the win? Let's find out. And we do, 31-24. The offense is back. We get the win. Let's see who went off. Okay, so Fields with possibly his best performance of the year so far. 217 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Did get sacked 3 times. Jared Goff was meh. 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, sacked twice. Javonte Williams is back and doing big things for us. Over 100 yards, a healthy 5.6 per carry with a touchdown. Justin Fields picks up 50 yards on the ground. Will Fuller scores twice for us. Jerry Jeudy's got 66 yards, and Darnell Mooney scores. Might be his first touchdown of the year. I haven't said his name a whole lot this video. Brian Balaga is terrible. Kyler Gordon led the way with tackles. He picks up 9 with a TFL. Jalen Johnson's next with 6. Linval Joseph gets a sack for us. So does Trevis Gibson. And this is how you know you need a new right tackle, when Romeo Okwara is getting 2 sacks against you. We have got to upgrade that line in free agency and the draft. We're going to hit it hard. And Jaquan Brisker, the week after getting that dev trade upgrade, he gets an interception. So he is performing very well. He's having a great rookie year. Okay, before we play the Falcons, we've got a prospect spotlight. Discuss a rising college prospect with the front office. Okay. We may want to take a deeper look at right outside linebacker Vantrese Bryant. He's been standing out from other prospects in terms of his football IQ. I like the name, Vantrese Bryant. That's pretty cool. Okay, consider scouting Vantrese Bryant for further evaluation of his ability. Will do. And also, we get to choose our focus players. Read the results your scouts compiled from in-person observations at practice and in-game action. Okay. So it looks like we get to pick 3 players for super focus scouting. So I'm assuming this will get us quite a bit of info on them. Who do we want to scout? Looks like a lot of quarterbacks in this draft class. We are not in the market for one. Let's see what else is out there. Okay, so first up, we definitely need a left tackle. And these 3 guys right here all are intriguing. Kerry Messina out of Georgia, Rod Conrad out of Stanford, and Jackson Reinhardt out of West Virginia. Reinhardt, we already have 75% completed. I don't know if it would be worth it for him. So we'll do Kerry Messina and Ross Conrad. We really want to make sure that we're getting the perfect left tackle here. We have to upgrade at that position. Can't say it enough. So those are our first 2 picks. And of course, we will need a center. We're probably not going to bring J.C. Treader back unless he's cheap. Here's John Kiernan. He's projected in rounds 3 and 4. We need some guys in that area. His overall stats don't look terrible, so we'll give him a chance, see if he can become anything for us potentially. We'll confirm that. Okay, so next up we've got the Falcons. 5-5, probably a surprising record by most people's expectations for them this year. Two teams that as of this point are both kind of overachieving. Who comes out on top though? And unfortunately the Falcons do. 41-26. We put up a fight, kind of. We at least score some points. It's not like the Cowboys game, but Marcus Mariota went off, I guess. Let's see what happened. Okay, so yeah, he puts up 341 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick, and gets sacked once. Fields is just kind of mediocre for us this year. I don't know if it's the playbook. I don't know if it's the talent around him. Maybe a mix of both. 139 yards, 2 touchdowns, a pick, and 1 sack. At least the running game was productive for us. Javonte Williams still benefiting from that playbook change. Gets 87 yards, 4.3 per carry with 2 touchdowns. Fields picks up 57 yards on 16 carries. Meanwhile, Cole Kmet picks up 71 yards and a touchdown. Darnell Mooney also scores. Aside from that, not much to speak of as far as the Bears are concerned. One positive from this game, neither Brian Balaga nor Riley Reef allowed a sack, so that's the first time I think that's happened all year. Isaiah Simmons having a great year, 13 tackles, 2 TFLs, and an interception. Very nice game for him. Robert Quinn picks up a sack. And Isaiah Simmons was our only player to get a pick this week. A.J. Terrell does pick off Justin Fields. Okay, so next up we've got the Jets. Very intriguing team heading into 2022. They are 5-5 at this point. Who comes out on top? Let's find out. And we get another loss. 28-21. We keep it close, but we cannot take down the Jets. We fall to 4-8. Zach Wilson has a very nice game. 3 touchdowns, only 1 interception, sacked twice. Fields throws a touchdown and gets picked off. However, he does not get sacked. Javonte Williams, decent game, 77 yards, 4.5 a carry. Fields does get a rushing score, and so does Michael Carter for the Jets. Pretty quiet day as far as receiving goes. Will Fuller led the way for both teams with 65 yards. CJ Uzomah does score 3 touchdowns, though. And Jerry Jeudy is back in the end zone for us, so there's one positive, I guess. No sacks allowed, so that's a positive, okay. Tavon Young was our leading tackler, he had 7. Robert Quinn and Al-Qadim Muhammad each had a sack. And Nicholas Morrow picks off Zach Wilson. Okay, so week 13 is here. We get the Packers at home. They beat us in a close one earlier this year. They are surprisingly just 6-6, so not pulling away with the NFC North by any means. Not that we're going to catch up to them, but definitely a bit of a disappointment. Can we beat them, though? No, 30-24. So at least, we kept it close in both games. That's something to be said for that, although now we have secured a losing record. We're 4-9. Okay, and Fields actually had a pretty solid game. 281 yards, a touchdown, no picks, passer rating over 100. Meanwhile, Rodgers actually struggled. I don't know how they put up 30 points, but 243 yards passing, no touchdowns, a pick, and 3 sacks. I'm not an NFC North fan. I don't follow the Bears or the Packers, but is this Rodgers' worst game against the Bears? It might be, statistically. Those are ugly numbers. Okay, and there's your answer. Aaron Jones is over 200 yards on the ground with 3 scores. Justin Fields picks up 70 and scores a touchdown. A.J. Dillon's next. Javonte Williams just looks like he got games scripted out. Didn't really do a whole lot. Okay. Darnell Mooney, I think this might be his first 100-yard game this year. Jerry Jeudy's very close next to him with 99. And Will Fuller scores a touchdown. Okay, not a bad day for our receiving game. We'll take that. Glad to see Brian Balaga is back to doing Brian Balaga things. DeAndre Houston Carson leads the way with 9 tackles for us. As far as sacks go, Isaiah Simmons picks one up. He also has an interception. The trade for him clearly was a huge win. And so does Robert Quinn and Mario Edwards. Okay, so after the bye week, we get the Eagles. They're coming in with an 8-5 record. Very good roster. Not expecting a whole lot here. We do have a breakout linebacker scenario, though. I'm hoping this is Isaiah Simmons. Let's find out. Coach, I was reviewing last week's game film and 2 things stood out to me. Isaiah Simmons might have been the best player on the field. Keep an eye on that guy. hold the Eagles to less than 200 yards, or get Isaiah Simmons 2+ interceptions, forced fumbles, TFLs, or sacks. Okay, let's hope we can do that. Another message, playing spoiler, talk with the front office about finishing strong. I know this season hasn't gone exactly the way we want it to, but it's important to remember that we can't just phone it in for the rest of the year. Wow, thanks assistant GM, very insightful. Definitely it's way too early to be throwing in the towel. Beat the spoilers for a significant boost to your roster. Okay, so we've got some motivation here. Okay, I would like to spend at least some of our points. I want to save some for the off season, but we come in, we already have hands-on defense halfway, so we're going to purchase, use 10 points. Now our defensive coordinator talents cost 20% less. So let's get some of those purchased. So we're going to start over here on practice makes perfect. We have to start with pliability, and then we're just going to go straight down. Do we want player recognition for free safeties or strong safeties, or for cornerbacks? I think we're going to go with cornerbacks, and we'll go down this path. So we'll just keep going. We'll get down to like 40 points, because I'd like to save some for the offseason. Maybe some free agents, some draft boosts. Okay, we'll take that. So our pursue and our player recognition, our cornerback should start playing a little bit better. That should help, because we've allowed some big games to receivers, so I like this. Okay, now let's find out who comes out on top, us or the Eagles. Can we upset them? No, we do not. 42-28, we take the L. We are now 4-10. And so much for those cornerback upgrades. Jalen Hurts has a career game, 4 touchdowns and no picks, only gets sacked once. Justin Fields struggles with a touchdown, 2 picks, and a sack. Miles Sanders scores twice. Javonte Williams does score for us, so does Justin Fields, so at least he's producing on the ground. Will Fuller has a big game, over 100 yards with a score. Zach Pascal scores 3 times against us, might be his first career 3-touchdown game. A.J. Brown gets 66 yards. Jerry Jeudy's got 59. Devontae Smith scores against us. Not a whole lot else going on. Brian Balaga just wanted to say hi. Okay, let's see if Isaiah Simmons did anything for us. Tavon Young led the way with 10 tackles. Okay. Robert Quinn had a sack for us. And of course, we did not pick off Jalen Hurts. Okay, and great news, Isaiah Simmons didn't even play this week, it looks like. If he did, he was invisible. He has no stats, so I don't know if he got hurt or what, but yeah, he's not getting a breakout. Okay, he's not on the injury report, however, we know that doesn't necessarily mean anything. And he's not listed as being hurt, so I don't know what happened. I guess he heard us talking nicely about him and decided, okay, I'm going to take the week off. So really no point reading either of these messages. We know we didn't get anything out of them. We'll read playing spoiler. Occasionally they'll give you a little bit of pity experience. We know Breakout Players not going to do anything for us. Would have been nice to pull off the upset, but nobody expected us to win that game anyway. Wow, Assistant GM, I love your optimism. We're going to figure out soon, I can feel it. Yeah, we sure are. Next offseason, I hope. Okay, yeah, so we didn't get anything out of that. That was useless. Okay, so next up we've got the Bills, 8-6, so not necessarily the juggernauts everyone's expecting them to be this year. How funny would it be if after that week of getting all those messages, potential breakouts, and upsets that we upset the Bills? I'm not expecting it, but crazier things have happened. Okay, and I jinxed us. We win 28-14, so we beat the Bills pretty easily. So yeah, who would have thought this late in the year after a 4-game win streak we snap it against Buffalo of all teams? Fields has a pretty good game, not much yardage, but 2 touchdowns and no picks, sacked once. Josh Allen struggles, touchdown, pick, 3 sacks. Javonte Williams still having a good year after that playbook change, 98 yards on the ground and a score. David Montgomery, forgot we traded him, he gets a touchdown with his new team. Justin Fields gets a score on the ground and gets more carries than the opposing team's running back. Interesting. Not much as far as receiving goes. Will Fuller led the way with 65 yards. Cole Kmet gets a score for us, and so does Jerry Jeudy. Here's Brian Balaga with his weekly sack allowed. Isaiah Simmons is back. He wants to play football again. He has 8 tackles for us. Robert Quinn gets 2 sacks for us. I don't know what this puts him at for the year, but I know I've said his name quite a bit, so he's having a good year. Meanwhile, Kyler Gordon and Linval Joseph split a sack. And Nicholas Morrow, he gets another interception, so he's having a pretty good year for us, honestly. He's outplaying his overall rating. Okay, so we've got the Lions, both of us coming in with 5-10 records. Neither of us are going anywhere, so this is really kind of a battle for draft positioning at this point. Who comes out though? Who gets the win? Who picks up some momentum heading into next year? Let's see. And they come out on top in a low-scoring game, 14-10. This pushes us down to 5-11. Okay, so not going to be super interesting looking at the stats from a 14-10 game, but Fields had a decent game, 207 yards, a touchdown, no picks, gets sacked 4 times, not good. Goff is solid, 255 yards, 2 touchdowns, a pick. We did sack him 3 times, so there's a positive for us in the loss. Javonte Williams with a decent game. Justin Fields hits 50 yards on the ground. Darnell Mooney is our top receiver with 50 yards. Javonte Williams is next with 48. Anyone score for us? Cole Kmet did, okay. The good news is we only have to deal with Brian Balaga for 1 more week. Nicholas Morrow is our top tackler. He picks up 9. Robert Quinn, been saying his name a lot, gets another 2 sacks. Meanwhile, Sue is back with the Lions. That's interesting, okay. Mario Edwards and Linval Joseph split 1, okay. And the rookie Kyler Gordon gets a pick. Okay, so a couple positives to take from the loss, not bad. Okay, so week 18, it's our second to last chance to negotiate with players before the offseason hits. And Nick Morrow is someone I actually would like to bring back. So we're going to use some points here. Hometown discount, it's a 5% discount on players under 80 overall. So we'll purchase that. Hopefully it's worth our while. Hopefully we're able to get him back. Let's find out. Okay, so we're going to try a neutral offer here. I think that's more than fair. Yeah, he's played well, but he's 72 overall. He wants to play for a new team next year. All right, whatever, dude. Okay, so at long last, we are at week 18. We're pretty much just playing for pride at this point. We get the Vikings. They're terrible, 4-12. Very surprising. The Vikings, I think, are a bit of a dark horse team this year. Personally, I see them going 9-8, 10-7, but here they are, 4-12. Can we make it 4-13 for them? Let's find out. Okay, and we do get the win week 18, so a little bit of a morale boost. Vikings finished 4-13, last place in the NFC North. Not many people would expect us to technically tie for second, but we'll take it. 6-11 in Matt Eberflus's first year, okay. Okay, so Justin Fields ends the year on a high note, over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, only 1 interception, sacked twice. Kirk Cousins had a pretty quiet game, all things considered. Justin Fields got another score on the ground rushing the ball. He's over 50 yards. Javonte Williams was meh, whatever. We got the win, doesn't matter. And Will Fuller's kind of making it tempting, wanting to re-sign him. 145 yards, 2 touchdowns, but we've heard this story before. I don't know if we'll actually end up bringing him back. Cole Kmet ends the year strong, 88 yards and a score. Who else? Darnell Mooney's quiet, and Jerry Jeudy's quiet. Okay, not bad. Riley Reef just wanted us to make sure we didn't forget about him. Been a while since we've said his name, and hopefully the last time we say his name. Jalen Johnson leads the way with 9 tackles. Isaiah Simmons right behind him with 8. And Mario Edwards gets our lone sack of the game. Okay, so that's our regular season. So just looking at things here, we started off with a 2-game lose streak. Win 2 in a row. Lose 2 in a row. Win 1. Another 2-game lose streak. A win, 1, 2, 3, 4 losses in a row. A win, a loss, and a win. Okay, that's how you get to 6-11 on the year. Just want to take a quick look at the year-end stats here. Our offense was 30th in the NFL, and our defense came in at 14th. Okay, so offense definitely room for improvement, but the defense at least kept us in there. Justin Fields, honestly, pretty quiet year, but he's got some momentum heading into next year, I would say. Definitely, overall, I would say this was a better season than his rookie year. He had some games where he looked really good, and he didn't have a whole lot of help behind him, so we'll take that. Rushing the ball, I think bringing in Javonte Williams was a great idea. He should be, I think, just 23 next year, so still a lot of room for him to grow. Over 1,000 yards with 7 touchdowns. Justin Fields, it's definitely worth saying, yeah, he didn't throw a lot of touchdowns, but running 7 in and hitting 700 yards on the ground, that's good. We'll take that. And Cole Kmet was actually our leading receiver. Almost 1,000 yards, 5 touchdowns. I would call that a pretty solid year for him. Dare I say a breakout. That's a really good year. Will Fuller, 800 yards, 9 scores. Jerry Jeudy, 706 touchdowns. Darnell Mooney, bit of a disappointment, 700, only scored twice. Meanwhile, Javonte Williams did add almost 200 yards, so put him around 1,200 scrimmage yards. And for all the trash I talked, who would have thought Riley Reiff only allowed 5 sacks? It definitely did not feel that way at times. Probably helps he only played 388 downs. I guess the CPU must have benched him at some point, and rightfully so. Replacing him with Tevin Jenkins, I'm guessing, or Brian Balaga. Either way, Brian Balaga will not be back. Isaiah Simmons was our top tackler. He got 129 with 6 TFLs, 2 sacks, and 2 interceptions. A good year for him. We're happy we traded for him. Robert Quinn was really our only consistent pass rusher. He picked up 12.5. Next best was Linval Joseph with 4. Also Trevis Gibson. And what's his face? Who did we trade for? AJ Epinesa. I think we gave up like, what, a 5th or a 6th for him. He did not work out, unfortunately. And as far as interceptions go, Nicholas Morrow, the diva, got 3. He doesn't want to come back for whatever reason. Jalen Johnson had 3. Isaiah Simmons 2. Kyler Gordon, the rookie, had 2. And Jaquan Brisker, the other rookie, had 1. Okay. So really some promising pieces for us to build around. I'm excited about the defensive side of the ball for sure. We'll need to improve the pass rush, absolutely, but we've got some pieces. As for the yearly awards, Lamar Jackson wins MVP. I'm going to safely assume we don't have any players on that list. Coach of the Year goes to Doug Peterson as the Jags go 12-5, defying everyone's expectations. Offensive Player of the Year, Cooper Kupp. We're not going to have anyone here. Defensive Player of the Year, did we have anyone make the list? We did not. Offensive Rookie of the Year, I'm going to assume is a no. Defensive Rookie of the Year, did we have anyone? Jaquan Brisker comes in at 5, Kyler Gordon at 6. Okay, that's promising. Best QB, I'm just going to say I doubt it. Oh, Justin Fields comes in at 9. Okay. Best running back, no. Best wide receiver, probably not, no. It's hard to do that when you don't hit 1,000 yards. Best O-lineman, J.C. Treader gets the nod. Thankfully, no one else. That would be how you know the game's really broken. Best D-line. Robert Quinn comes in at 10 with his 12.5 sacks. Best linebacker, no Isaiah Simmons. He had a pretty good year, but no honors for him. Best DB, no one. Best kicker, oh, Cairo Santos comes in at 5. Okay, congrats, Cairo. All right. And just want to take a quick look around the league. Joe Burrow throws for 6,000 yards passing. Absolutely insane numbers. I mean, Lamar won MVP. Where's Lamar on this list? He had to have rushed for like 2,000 to have won MVP. Did I miss him? Where did Lamar go? I genuinely do not see Lamar Jackson on this list. How are you going to win MVP when Joe Burrow throws for 6,000 yards, dude? There he is. Okay, so really good numbers. Despite the yardage, 38 touchdowns, only 5 picks. Who led the league in rushing? Jonathan Taylor is over 2,000 yards with 20 touchdowns. Now let's find Lamar. Lamar's got to be on here somewhere. I mean, I would have to assume he's over 1,000. There he is. Okay, so he picks up 882 and 9. Okay. I don't know. It's close. Joe Burrow throwing for 6,000 yards is crazy, though. Tyler Boyd leads the league in receiving yards. Cooper Kupp scores 20 touchdowns. Defensively, Miles Jack led the league in tackles. Aaron Donald picks up 22 sacks. Von Miller gets 20.5. And Trevon Diggs, AJ Terrell, and Drew Tranquill all pick up 6 interceptions. Okay, so those are your year-end stats. Okay, and here is our year-end roster. So Jerry Jeudy and Javonte Williams have both come along very nicely for us. Judy's up to an 86, Javonte's up to an 85, Fields is up to a 78, and Darnell Mooney's up to an 81, although I think he started around there. Our offensive line, we really don't have any long-term pieces there. Cole Kmet's up to a 79 overall. And on the defensive side of the ball, Jalen Johnson's up to an 87, stud. Jaquan Brisker's up to a 78. Isaiah Simmons is an 81. So those are kind of our 3 cornerstones on that side of the ball. So we've got some pieces on both sides. We came along nicely this year. I definitely think that with the right moves, this can be a playoff team next year. I really do. Okay, so here is your 2022 season recap, and how fun would this Super Bowl be? Bucks over the Bengals 42-37 in a shootout. This would be an all-time classic, instant classic. Brady wins Super Bowl MVP. He's got what, ring number 8 now? 7 or 8, I don't know. He wins so many it's hard to keep track, but there you have it. Those are your year-end stats. Okay, so here are your retirements. I really wish they would sort this by overall, because if you just go to NFL, I mean, you can see here Aaron Rodgers retired, but why is Brett Kern the first player listed? So I started with the NFC North, our own division. Rodgers is gone, so this division is up for the taking. Sue is also gone. Over in the NFC South, Brady retires. He goes out on top, much to Giselle's delight. She probably wanted him to retire already. Jason Kelce is gone. Trent Williams retires. Pete Carroll. Let's go over to the AFC. Kareem Jackson retires. Devin McCourty retires. Matt Ryan. And Calais Campbell. So, man, the Hall of Fame class 5 years from now is going to be crazy. That's all I have to say about that. Here is our latest mock draft. So it looks like the Giants secured the number 1 overall pick. They were terrible. They're going to go with a quarterback. Goodbye, Danny Dimes. We are picking 6, so we got a very good selection. They still think we're going to take Emmanuel Donnell. I can tell you right now we are probably not going to do that. And yeah, that will cover it for our first round picks. So I believe we have 2 seconds. We'll double check that really quick, but that is your next mock draft. Okay, last chance. Players ready to negotiate. I know I've said it several times that none of these guys really interest me. However, let's do one last look through just to be safe. Tavon Young, no. Riley Reef, absolutely not. N'Keal Harry, no. I kind of forgot he was here. Kari Blasingame is a no. DeAndre Houston Carson, no. Nick Morrow is a petulant child, so no. And then who else do we have here? Anyone at all who even remotely interests me. I mean, these are some Bears players if I've ever seen them. J.C. Treader was not bad for us. He could at least be a mentor. We can't draft a whole new offensive line, so there's the neutral offer. How much cap room would this leave us with? $133 million. Let's upgrade it just slightly. Ugh, I don't love that. He's going to have like a $10 million cap hit, but we've got so much money. Why not? He wants to play for a new team. Whatever. You're not worth the franchise tag, so good riddance. Will Fuller was not bad. He was actually pretty good for us, but he's 29. If we want him back, we can probably get him. Brian Balaga, no thanks. Raheem Mostert, no. Linval Joseph, no. Yeah, so we're going to have 20 guys hitting the market now that we're going to have to replace. Thankfully, most of them are terrible, so not a whole lot lost as far as that's concerned. And that will actually do it for this part of the series. Let's take a look now that we've lost some free agents. So clearly we have holes at left tackle and I would say probably right tackle as well. Sure, Tevin Jenkins is young, but he's just not very good in my opinion. We've got the skill players that we need. Not a whole lot is needed there. Defensively, also have some holes. We need a free safety. We definitely need a new right outside linebacker. Pass rush is a major concern for us, and I would say we could probably get another corner. I do like Kyler Gordon, though, so I think we might be okay there. But yeah, I definitely think we can fill a lot of these holes. I think our team will look much better heading into 2023. Also, we've got some very nice draft capital, the number 6 overall pick, number 38 in the second, and we also get the 48th pick from that trade with Buffalo. Remember, we sent them David Montgomery, and they weren't amazing, so a pretty high pick in the second round. Also picking 70 in the third, so 4 top 100 picks, almost 5 if you count our 4th. So yeah, plenty of draft capital. And that is going to do it for part 1 of our Chicago Bears rebuild. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please drop a like, subscribe, comment. It helps my channel a ton. Still trying to grow here, as a Madden YouTuber. I appreciate all of the support so far. And starting in part 2, we'll tackle the offseason, so free agency, the 2023 draft, hopefully make a playoff push for our second year of the series. Should be a great time, and I'll see you guys next time.